Today we'll be talking about The Silent Patient. If you're someone who enjoys murder mysteries or psychological thrillers, chances are you've already come across this book at least once. It's one of those novels that keeps popping up in recommendations, bookstores, and conversations, and for good reason. Before getting into the review, here's a brief spoiler light synopsis. The Silent Patient follows Theo Faber, a psychotherapist who becomes fascinated and eventually obsessed with Alicia Branson, a once famous painter who has been institutionalized after murdering her husband, Gabriel. What makes Alicia's case so disturbing is just not the crime itself, but the fact that she has remained completely silent ever since. She hasn't spoken a single word in years. The story alternates between Theo's present day attempts to treat Alicia and excerpts from Alicia's diary, slowly unraveling the events that led to the murder. As the Theo digs deeper, the narrative explores themes of trauma, obsession, and unreliable perception, eventually building towards a major twist that recontextualizes everything you thought you understood about the story. Now, coming to the plot and pacing. This is a book with an extremely compelling premise, and it wastes no time pulling you in. From the very beginning, there's a strong sense of mystery, not just about the crime itself, but about the characters involved and their hidden motivations. The story moves at a steady pace, keeping you engaged without feeling rushed. And there's always a sense that something is being deliberately withheld from the reader. Personally, when it comes to murder mysteries, I usually try to guess the twist early on. After consuming a lot of stories in this genre, you start noticing certain patterns. Often, the culprit turns out to be either the least suspicious person or the most obvious one. In that sense, the silent patient does follow a familiar formula. But here's the important part: execution matters far more than originality, and this book executes its twist exceptionally well. The reveal doesn't feel cheap or random. Instead, the story unfolds in a very controlled and intelligent manner, planting subtle clues along the way. If you're actively trying to solve the mystery while reading, you might pick up on some of these hints. But if you're simply experiencing the story as it unfolds, the twist can genuinely catch you off guard. And when it hits hard. What really makes the book effective is the hook of its central mystery. You're constantly driven by a single question: why did Alicia kill her husband, and why has she chosen silence as a response? That question alone is powerful enough to keep you turning pages. As the narrative progresses, you slowly begin to see how the pieces fit together, even if the full picture doesn't become clear until the very end. Another Another strong aspect of this novel is its psychological focus. Rather than relying solely on shock value, the story leans heavily into themes of trauma, repression, and the ways people construct narratives to survive their past. The use of an unreliable narrator adds another layer of tension, forcing the reader to be constantly reassessing what they believe to be true. I'm intentionally keeping this review vague because getting into deeper thematic analysis would require diving into spoilers. And this is one of those books where spoilers genuinely ruin the experience. Overall, The Silent Patient is a highly engaging psychological thriller. If you're already a fan of the genre, this book is an easy recommendation. And even if psychological thrillers aren't usually your thing, this is still a relatively light, fast paced, and entertaining read that's easy to get into. It's not trying to reinvent the genre, but it understands it well enough to deliver a story that's tense, clever, and memorable.